Hello, you guys. Welcome to the Ranting Shop. It's me, Melissa, and I'm back and ready to give you guys the Love and Marriage Huntsville review part 2. And this particular episode, Marceau was waiting for everybody at the door, honey. But we're gonna get into this. So we left on the cliffhanger, and the question was essentially, would Martel marry that side chick that he has if he never met Melody? And he said no, but he took a significantly long time to answer that question. So do I necessarily believe him? I'm not sure. However, I do have to say that his actions have spoken louder than his words, because he's not married the side woman yet. And I don't think he plans to. I don't even think they're together currently. So there's that. And Melody did make mention of the fact that he's not even with Arion at this time. But we're going to get into that later. So said Martel couldn't leave any one of them alone. He said he was being greedy to her. It wasn't solely sexual, but she was hopeful that she'd choose his family. So although the relationship with Arion was not just about sex, she felt like the man would do what's in his family's best interest and leave this thing that he was doing with Arion alone just so that he could secure and maintain his family, but he chose otherwise. Now, the man, Melody gives a story of the man, Martel, crawling up steps to get to his burner phone to communicate with his side woman. This man had a back injury and he literally crawled up steps to get to his secret burner phone just to communicate with this woman. So she must have been more significant to him than he made her out to be. I said that's love or something, child. You know, Carlos believes Martel tried. And I'm like, how did he try? He didn't do any trying. The first chance he got, he went back to the side woman. How is that trying? And that kind of pissed me off with Carlos, because I was like, just shut the hell up. Because at the end of the day, in that regard, you're talking some BS. This man didn't try anything. All right? He wanted to maintain two women at the same time. He wanted to maintain his family, maybe for financial reasons, maybe for visual reasons. And he wanted to maintain his side chick, maybe because she's good at what she does and she makes him happy and she's just a different woman, so he could get the variety once in a while. But for you to say that he tried to be good to Mel, that's a lie. He tried to maintain two households. That's what he tried to do. And he failed. All right? Now, Kimmy and Maurice thinks that Martel does seem to come across sincere sometimes when he apologizes. However, maybe he means it in that very moment. But according to Marceau, Martel's demeanor, his personality, his vibe, it changes with the wind. It's one day he's good, the next day he's trying to dig all of their dirt. One day he's smiling at them, the next day he's angry at them. So he has a very volatile, he has very volatile emotions at this point. So nobody knows if, he's on his good side or if he's on his bad side. So they think he's sincere in some regards, but as far as his love for Arion, the reason why he's not basically just coming out and saying it, well, he did admit to it in one of the episodes when Melody and him went to meet with their friends to, discuss the marriage and stuff. He did mention that he loved her and stuff like that. So it's not like he's hiding it, but he doesn't really like to, I suppose, mention it in front of Mel because he feels guilty for what he's done. And then we have Carlos. Now, Carlos, I have a problem with you because you telling Melody that she wasn't enough for Martel while referring to what Arion was to him as a whole restaurant is beyond disrespectful. Alright, as someone rightfully said in the comment section, you can't give more of what someone already does not appreciate. That's why when Mel did try to give him what he wanted, it didn't work. He continued to cheat. The proof that his lust is insatiable is that restaurant that Arion was to Martel was still not adequate enough for him to stay with her either. which is a point that Carlos clearly missed. His problem is internal, and no woman can ever be enough for him. If he doesn't work on that void within, he would never be satisfied externally. Marceau was trying to get everybody together, as I said before. Destiny and the Whitlows got all the smoke. But when it came to Martel, did anyone else hear the lowering of his voice? Marceau admits to meeting Arion on a boys' trip that they had. He mentioned knowing just months before Mel. So somebody's lying. Because Mel said that she found out in March 2017 when Arion called Martel's phone and she answered. And so that boys' trip was allegedly in 2015, 2 years ago, 2 years from the year that Melody found out. So somebody was trying to figure out, was Marceau, did he misspeak? Did he mean 2 years as opposed to 2 months? And then somebody was saying, oh, Melody lies and stuff like that. That doesn't necessarily mean Melody lies, because it could just mean that she learned about it later on. It could have been that she learned about it at another point. But then it could also mean that she knew earlier than she's letting us believe that she knew, so that she doesn't look silly for staying as long as she did. You know, we know that she stayed long after he cheated, but for people to find out she knew about Arion even longer than she was letting us believe that she knew, I don't know if it would really change our perception of why she stayed. I mean, she wanted her marriage to work, so whether she stayed long for it to work or didn't stay long, that's her prerogative to want to fix her relationship. So as far as that's concerned, the jury is out. Somebody's lying. Either Marcel is lying, either Marceau is lying, or Melody is lying about when they found out about Arion. Okay? It could have been something that they did and nobody knew until 2 years later, when the person actually called her phone, and then she realized that her man was cheating on her. You know, so that's that. According to Marceau, they tried to tell him that she's not it, which I believe is lies. Maurice lied when he stated that he wasn't there or didn't go out with them, as seen in the picture that I will post. And in that picture, we see Martel, we see Marceau, and we see Maurice in, I believe, what was the boys' trip event. And according to Arion, she's the one that took the picture. And unlike what Tisha was saying, which is she popped up, she's saying she got invited. Okay, now, I knew that Maurice was lying just based on his reasoning for him staying. It simply made no sense. According to Kimmy, once you stay, you make a choice to participate. And they were participating, child. Furthermore, the backstage footage of him and Kimmy talking about it further proved my suspicion, because his body language was off and he looked guilty as hell. Staying and complying to the behavior on Saturday, then giving advice on a Sunday. That's highly hypocritical. I'm convinced that Martel wasn't the only one with a side chick on that boys' trip. According to Arion, she was invited and took the picture that you see currently with Marceau, which Marceau posted. She also describes Maurice messing with a linebacker, so she asked to see how Kimmy looked. Marceau continues to deny and has continued to deny cheating allegations, but it makes sense as to why none of them left when they saw Arion. Martel doesn't want Mel disrespecting his side chick, because now she's been elevated to the mother of his child. But you have no problem being disrespectful to Melody, throwing her under the bus, implying that she had a relationship with your friend, making her look a particular way. That's disgusting. That is beyond disgusting. And the fact that she had to, during the lunch break, she went in her room and she broke down and she cried and she stated how much she hates being in Huntsville. And I believe it's because of what Martel puts her through mentally. It's literal abuse at this point, you know. And she cannot leave the state because they're co-parenting, and legally she's bound to stay there for that reason, you know. And we have Miss Wanda coming on social media to give her 2 cents, talking about it's not about leaving the surrounding, because if you leave, you may be in a different situation or area, but you're bringing your baggage with you. It's not like you're leaving it in the other, which she has a point. But at the end of the day, sometimes people need a new beginning, a new environment, just to help them speed up the process of moving on with their lives. If you stay in the same environment, you're gonna most likely be subject to the same things. And if somebody wants to move on with their life, I feel like changing your environment is not a bad place to start. That doesn't mean you're not bringing your issues there, but at least it's easier for you to get over it, because you don't have other people there keeping you back and bringing you back into the drama or the negativity. So Maurice is saying he spoke to him and told him she's not it. I don't believe none of that stuff. Tisha said she knew same time as Mel. In the lunch break, Mel doesn't appreciate Martel making things up. She doesn't want to be in Huntsville, as I said before. Kimmy mentions feeling bad for Mel, but I think she should be investigating her own man. You know, Kimmy rightfully said they were indeed complicit in the act, but what she doesn't know is that it's because they all had their side pieces too and was having an orgy in the room. According to other sources, allegedly, Ariane is weaponizing the tea that she has on other men as revenge for making mention of her at the reunion. Now, Melody wasn't even comfortable with the amount of times they mentioned Ariane. So I definitely don't think Melody is the one condoning bringing her up on the show. I think it's all about Carlos. Carlos really is about the mess, and I really believe that he wants Ariane to eventually come onto the show, which Melody is not gonna like, she's not gonna want, and I'm pretty sure she's gonna quit if Ariane ever steps one foot on set to meet anybody. She's not gonna be for it, but it's clearly where and in the direction that Carlos wants to go. That's why they bring her up so much. So Ariane dropped a whole bunch of tea, and I said she did mention that Atlanta trip on her 2011 lives, because it seems as if every time the show airs, she goes on Instagram live and literally does nothing. I don't know why she does that. I don't know what the point is that she's trying to prove, but she always does that. Now before I even get into Destiny, and we're not even gonna be talking much about Destiny because her segment was quite boring. I could leave it, or I could have left that segment completely out and be totally fine. I'm gonna go get the receipts from Miss Arion pertaining to, well, she didn't necessarily have receipts, but she just had her experience with them. So she said, some she I don't speak on. I know a lot, but when you speak on me, I speak on you. You could have said I don't want to discuss Arion, but you used me to stay relevant because y'all ain't got shit else to talk about. I'll spare you tonight, Marceau. You came correct a little bit, but tell your wife, watch her mouth before I hurt her feelings. What did Tisha say? What did Tisha say? I have no idea. And then she says, I was here. I about took the picture. I didn't just show up. I was invited and couldn't believe the linebacker Maurice was sexing. I immediately went upstairs and asked Martel what Kimmy looked like because I couldn't believe my eyes. Facts. Alright, and in that particular picture that Marceau posted on his page, somebody's asking, isn't that Maurice? He lied. He's saying that wasn't him. Someone was saying this was taken in 2015. Melody said she found out in 2017. Marceau is sticking to the fact that he only knew months before Melody. Somebody's lying, as I said before. Somebody came into Arion's inbox to let her know that Marceau was effing her friend until recently. On the reunion last night, they all lied and said they didn't know about you except for Marceau. Two of them have been in the same room effing two different women at the same time. I know you know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to convince her to expose all of them, but they got these girls scared. Wow. And she makes fun of Tisha's wig. And of course, Marceau, I think Martel mentioned something about the picture. He says something, but I don't know if I have the tea. I don't think I do. Martel says great job to at Arion for capturing this amazing moment, and I believe by the time I got to his page that comment was deleted, as well as Arion's comment. So there's that. So there's definitely things that these cast members are hiding. That's not even far-fetched. It's not hard to believe, because the way they just tiptoe around certain things, it lets all of us know as viewers that there's certain things that they don't want us to know. So they feel as if Martel was caught, his wife, called him out, and that's his business. They don't want to be a part of that, and that's that. And that is very sad, because I believe they all cheated. I do believe they all cheated. So now let's get into Destiny. And we're not going to be spending too long on Destiny. Her segment was boring. So they brought up the thing where Martel said that it was because of her mouth that she's no longer married. I don't know that for sure. I have no idea why she got divorced. Sorry. She never gave any detail as to why she got divorced. It just seemed to me that it was irreconcilable differences. That is just what it seemed like to me. They were long distance. Everything seemed fine. The moment they got together, it was a very different dynamic that none of them wanted to be a part of. Simple. He filed for divorce 3 weeks after the baby was born, which lets me believe that he was already mentally checked out, like probably years ago, before he actually filed. Marceau says she has better male energy, and she checked him and said, who's going to bring the feminine out of me? And I like that, because I feel like a lot of men cannot handle an assertive woman, and you see how Marceau is with Tisha. He has no respect for her whatsoever. Now, the question of transparency. Kimmy felt Tiffany wasn't being transparent, and she brought up the fact that she heard that Tiffany has been fired from the Chamber of Commerce. Tiffany denies that. She says it's a lie. I also think that no one was genuinely trying to get to know Tiffany, because if they were genuinely trying to know her, I believe she would have opened up. But there was simply, we just saw no opportunity for them to have a genuine heart-to-heart type of thing. Maybe there was a moment, but she chose not to say anything. But based on what I saw on the show, it looked as if the moments were not conducive to sharing like intimate details and stuff. Now, I'm not saying that I agree with the things Tiffany was doing, because she was very much aggravating me with all the things she was doing, calling people out, putting people's business on Front Street, feeling the need to give unsolicited advice. I also felt like upset at her for doing that, but I feel like eventually when she kind of eased up off that, the way they were trying to get to know her and know her dirt was just in such an inauthentic way. Like, Tisha's attempt was so stupid. Like, she took the woman on her side and literally just said to her, okay, tell me your business. Tell me who in their right mind would open up after somebody tells you, okay, tell me your business. Tisha looked so dumb in that moment. I wouldn't have said anything, period, if I was Tiffany. And I don't believe anybody watching that would have said anything to Tisha. I know you guys don't like the Whitlows, but we need to be honest and call a spade a spade. And we need to be objective in certain things. Whether you like Tiffany or not, the way Tisha chose to inquire about this woman's business made no sense. And it was very disrespectful. The fact that she still opened up about something, maybe it was not as satisfying as they wanted, or maybe it wasn't anything juicy like they would like it to be, but I wouldn't have said anything, you know. But then again, I'm not Tiffany, who was basically putting the people's business outside. So I guess that's karma, I guess. So then we talk about the Whitlows, Louis Whitlow and Marceau. Now, it brings into the question, does a long marriage equal a successful marriage? Nobody wants Tisha and Marceau's representation of a marriage. I feel like the idea of not being fit to give advice is stupid. If you give some great sound advice, why should it matter where it comes from? Children are taught to do as their parents say, not as they do. So when does that phrase lose relevance? I said Tisha had no place to talk about not wanting to get unsolicited advice because she needs all the advice she can get, being as insecure and unsure of her husband as she is. You know, nobody can put respect on your marriage when your own husband doesn't put respect on it. So I said a failed marriage means that there are things one learns to not do or do more of to have a more successful union. People need to give Tisha and Marceau advice because they need all the advice they can get. Period. Marceau cheated too, allegedly, so she should be quiet. Marceau is just looking for excuses for him not to take accountability for the state of his union. He wasn't even receptive to Dr. Francis, a board-certified therapist. So it's like, just admit you like being miserable and think your wife shouldn't complain because you guys have been miserable for a while. The advice may have been unwarranted, but it was good advice. Tisha saying people should put respect on her pathetic union is comical. Who in their right mind would respect that? Length of time does not equate to success in a marriage. And yes, success is relative. However, who would define a miserable union where the wife is seen as an assistant who handles the kids by herself and doesn't trust her husband as goals or respectable? Girl, shut up. Let me get my clown emoji and put it right on top of Tisha's head. She should have just sat there and looked like the pumpkin that she tried to be. Tiffany and the hate comment, she mentioned being negatively affected as they all are at some point. It's the price you pay for fame. It's just the price you pay for fame. And then we had Louis backtracking, because remember, in the midst of Maurice checking Tiffany, he's like, oh, if I had a drink, things would have gone this way. But Kimmy checked him and said, what way would it have gone? And then he was like, oh, well, let's just skip that. It wouldn't have gone anywhere or whatever the case is. He was backtracking like I don't know, like the teddy bear that he looks like. So one last thing I want to speak on that it's not coming to my brain. They mentioned people hating Tiffany, and I'm pretty sure she saw the hate. I just feel like she chose not to ignore it as best as she could. Then Marceau makes an analogy to, oh, if your team loses 9 times, you really don't have space to talk about winning. That's not true. What is this man talking about? The more you lose, the more opportunities you get to fix your mistakes and to win in the future. What is he talking about? If somebody is able to learn from their mistakes and apply that towards their life and be successful in the future, why isn't it possible for the person to give you advice when they've failed, but then they also succeeded at the end because of them growing from their failures. I feel like Marceau is just annoying. And I feel like he just doesn't want advice from anybody. But anyways, you guys, let me know what you think about this particular reunion. I felt so, they were really doing Melody dirty, especially Carlos. The way he elevated Arion was very disgusting. And I didn't like it, and I don't feel like anybody was really feeling what um Carlos did. But as I said before, it just seemed as if they're creating a space for Arion to eventually come on the show. That's what I think is happening. Now, whether Melody and Arion would be on the show together, I highly doubt it. I feel like Arion is really pissed off because nobody's giving her a platform, and that is why she's so hateful of Melody. But I don't feel like Melody deserves that hate. Melody doesn't want to even speak on you, know anything about you, or interact with you. So the hate that she's getting, I just feel like is unwarranted. Anyways, you guys, as I said, let me know what you think about this particular episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville Reunion Part 2. Was Carlos being very shady towards Melody? Let me know, you guys. Were people do you think that the cast was unfair for like really coming at Tiffany and Louis like that, or do you think it was justified? Do you think Martel is a dog? Let me know in the comment section. Bye.